Live your life within the moment. And don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away. Our bodies move to the groove and the light that flickers. We get lost in the crowd, it's getting thicker. Get away from the drinks and chatter. Haven't said a word, but it doesn't matter. Feel the air getting standing in a blurry green. No one else can see us. Live your life within the moment. And don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away.
Flying into your home like a 1930s train wreck. From the brand new VNL 860 studios. Creating a community of friends and topic-based discussions. This is JJDrones Live.
I'm Karl Marx and I approve this message.
And it's JJDrones Live. Welcome to the train wreck. Thank you everybody for coming in today. It's Super Bowl Sunday and we're glad you're here. We've got Dave from Gotta Love Thailand. We've got Jenny and Steve from Stormy Sky Road Productions. We've got Mrs. Polanowski. We've got Betty from Tiny House Garden Space. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. We are going to be talking drones all hour, and we're excited to get right into it. But before we get into it, if you'd like to have one of your videos featured on my website, email me, Jason at JJDrones360.com. And for everything JJ Drones related, go to JJDrones360.com. And if you're going to do some shopping on Amazon, go hit up my Amazon links, JJDrones360.com/Amazon1. And if you have a Blinker Flute of the Week submission, email my buddy Dan, droningveteran@gmail.com. He will get those up, and we will put those up for everybody to vote on. And our Spreadshirt shop is now open. And all you got to do is go to jjdrones.myspreadshop.com. And all the money that is made through the purchase of our spread shop is going directly into the program. Just like if there's any sort of super chats or super thanks or any of those super things that YouTube likes to deem super, that is all going into the site as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We know that you do have choices, and tonight is no exception because tonight is the Super Bowl. And I'll be basically checking in every once in a while to see what the score is for those of you that are interested. The 49ers up against the Kansas City Chiefs. But this is your Super Bowl alternative. And the reason that a lot of you are here today is not for me, but for my two co-hosts that are sitting backstage. So let's bring them up. We got the one and only. He is the cheesiest. He is Brian from Cheesehead Media.
Good afternoon, Jason.
And we've got The man, the myth, the legend. Sometimes he flies drones and sometimes he films trucks. He would be Dan, the droning veteran.
Barkley wants some.
Hey, Barkley.
Hello.
Hey,
How's it going, everybody?
Dan, don't
Yes.
let Barkley steal my thunder here.
He might.
This is my train wreck.
Barkley has contemplating his takeover.
Hey, baby girl, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for coming into the show tonight. And even Haley is skipping the Super Bowl for this one. But before
we have the Super Bowl of blinker fluid.
We do have the Super Bowl of blinker fluid. So if everybody is here for the blinker fluid, you came at the perfect night, because this is going to surpass any other blinker fluid. And we'll let Dan get into that as soon as we get through our intro for blinker fluid of the week. So, Dan, what is so special of this week's Blinker Fluid of the Week?
Oh, well, we have 5 different contestants this week.
Ooh, 5 different contestants.
And,
all going to...
And I usually can pick out who's going to win, but not this week.
Now, this week's flavor is going to be buffalo chicken.
Buffalo chicken.
Spicy, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, easy.
Barkley likes it too.
I'm sure Barkley does. So let's get into it.
He's going to sleep on Betty's side of the bed tonight.
You know, that person should know to cross when it says it's safe to cross.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's healthier for them in the end.
Got the heart rate up.
It probably did. First one's an anonymous. That's perfectly normal, right?
Yes, perfect. I think it was a Volvo. I'm pretty sure it was JJDrones.
Ooh, Brian, why don't you tell us what's going on here?
Oh, just watch. You can see the cars. See, I move over, nice, and getting off of the exit ramp. You can see this gray car was in lane 3. And let's keep coming over. Hey, look at that. I didn't even realize there was a car over there. We only passed the beginning of the ramp.
Hey, Ted, thanks for coming in, brother. Appreciate you being here. Oh, I think that light was red, Dan.
Yeah, it looked a little red.
Pink. It was
I
pink.
think it was pink. Maybe
Was it pink?
It was a pinkish.
Okay. Well, Advanced Auto thought that it was pink, for sure. I think we have multiple offenders in this one because we go forward just a little bit more, and Logan's driving at this point. And we're getting ready to make our left-hand turn, and we actually thought that truck was going to turn left.
Was that a left turn lane only?
Yeah. Oh, no, this one's from Christian. Now I'm going to pause it. I want to ask the panel here and anyone in the chat. I think that car hit him.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely close.
Well, I thought I saw his car jiggle just a hair.
there was a little shake, but
Yeah, I saw a shake there, and
wish Christian was here. Where's he at? Christian, hello.
Christian, where are you? I'm going to rewind it just a little bit because I want you to look at the shake. Now, was that just shaking because he swerved? He actually get hit.
I mean, it was like a cat hair.
Yeah, and that's Superior Anderson was being very, very professional as well.
Yes.
Now, Dan, this was you.
This was me. You know, I'm just cruising, enjoying, watching Pride make a right-hand turn, and then all of a sudden, I got a little wake-up call. But...
Oh, you weren't supposed to stop?
Video is now locked.
That video is now locked.
I mean, there was no me stopping, so luckily he stopped.
Did you have some choice words? Is that why it squeaked there?
Possibly.
So you can vote for your favorites 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then hashtag bonus.
Hashtag bonus it is. Come
for
on,
number
peoples.
5. So vote for your favorite. That's like Dan said, this is going to be the Super Bowl of Blinker Fluid of the Weeks because there's 5 different entries and 5 fantastic entries as they are. So you're definitely going to have to vote for your favorite because this one's going to be a tough one. And even Dan thinks that his isn't going to win. But we already have 1 vote for the bonus. And let's see where we're at.
We need a few more. Come on, bonus.
And we've got a couple other votes up there as well. So keep on voting, folks. Vote your favorite 1, 2, 3, or 4 on the poll. And then if you want the bonus, do hashtag bonus in the chat. And Dan's going to be monitoring that as we go into what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to talk about DJI drones, the federal government's ban on them, as well as Autel and all Chinese-made drones with a certain exception, Brian. And then we're also going to be talking about the B4UFly app and the problems with that. And we're going to talk about the Mini 4 update and the problems with the Mini 4 update. So we're going to start off with what happened in Congress back in January. And what happened in Congress was they passed the Defense Authorization Act. And in that act, they actually put in a provision that made Chinese drones, especially Autel and DJI, basically illegal to use by anybody in the country that has any sort of national contract. Now, here's the bill. Here's the bill that was introduced in the Senate. And we've got some sponsors here and the author of the bills. Senator Rick Scott was the author. And then here are the sponsors of the bill. We've got Mark Warner from Florida, Mark Warner from Virginia, Marco Rubio from Florida, Richard Blumenthal for Democrat from Connecticut, then Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee, Christopher Murphy from Connecticut, Josh Hawley from Missouri, and Mitt Romney from Utah. Now, the only name on there that really surprises me is Josh Hawley. And Josh, if you are willing to come on the show, I would love for you to come on and explain your reasoning behind co-sponsoring this bill. But the gist of the bill says this bill bans the procurement or use by the federal government of unmanned aircraft systems that are manufactured or assembled by certain foreign entities, including entities subject to influence or control by China. with exceptions. Okay. So here's the problem. There's so many people out there that actually believe this garbage. And there's an article that was written by the Federal Times. And in this article, it says, fortunately, the American Security Drone Act offers a partial answer. This bipartisan bill would ban federal agencies from using DJI, Autel Robotics, and other Chinese-made drones. It was recently added to the fiscal year 2024 National Defense Authorization Act by the U.S. Senate and deserves favorable consideration. Okay. Brian, you and I have been talking about this for some time now. Why should this bill be given favorable consideration?
Well, if we're truly concerned about China spying on us, then yes. But I have to say that a lot of the stuff, the way that they embed these bills into other things, like this particular one is now going to be part of a defense spending bill, it doesn't stand up on its own. So the only way to get it passed is to hide it amongst 1,900 other pages of garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dan, now you fly the DJI drones just as much as I do and Brian does, probably if not more. But as far as the drone itself, is there any way for it to transmit information to China when you're flying it normally?
No, not that I know of. I mean, why do they need to use drones to spy on us? They send their own spy balloons, and we just let them fly across the country.
Well,
I don't know.
DJI has had multiple times where the federal government has actually done an audit on their technology and their capturing ability as far as capturing information that would be detrimental to the U.S. And every time that it's been audited, they have not come up with anything. However, there have been audits done on iPhones, and the iPhones have given considerably more information to the Chinese government than DJI drones. So as of right now, I am calling for the federal government to start banning iPhones.
No. No, you don't do that.
But it isn't just the iPhone. I mean, Android does it as well. It's the location services that they're worried about. This all started with the Fitbit craze. You know, you had soldiers marching around a fob in Afghanistan, and that no one was supposed to really know existed until there was, a couple dozen Fitbits that kept on showing circles of what the inside perimeter was. And that was 2005, I believe. So this was before even the smartphones came out. So it's a feel-good bill, is I think what it really is. It makes everyone feel good. Hey, we're doing something and accomplishing absolutely nothing, which is what government typically does.
Right. And thank you, Mom, for coming in. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. So the biggest problem that I've got with this entire thing is it's written by a whole bunch of people that have absolutely zero knowledge on how the drones operate. And they don't even try to figure out how the drones operate. They don't go to anybody. I don't see them meeting up with Billy Kyle. I don't see them meeting up with any sort of person like Ken Herron or anybody that is got massive influence in the drone community, because there are a lot of people like 51 Drones, Billy Kyle, Ken Herron, Ken the Flying Dobo. There's so many people out there that they could go to try and get information, but they don't even try. And Mr. Polanowski, thank you so much for being here, and you have the correct answer with government control. The drones, we are not going out there and we are not flying our drones to try and give China all this information. Brian, we've gone through this before, and just for the audience sake, what happens when you try and fly in an area that is specifically a no-no place because of sensitive areas?
It doesn't even let you get near it. You know, I got a couple of those near me. I can't even take off. I wanted to last year when we had our Wreath Across America ceremony over in Union Grove. It happens to be next door to a prison. It doesn't matter what side. I was about half to 3/4 of a mile away. I couldn't take off. It said I was too close. So I couldn't even get a good photo of the wreath laying ceremony and I really wanted to at that location. So, and if anyone who has experience with DJI knows that DJI likes to say no to places where even our government says yes. I've got a place up by Duluth that I wanted to fly, and they say I'm too close to another airport. Well, I've looked on a map 4 times, cannot find the airport. Finally found it. It's an airport that's only in use in winter and by a ski plane.
Oh, geez.
Otherwise, it's not. It's not even an active airport. But hey, according to DJI, it's a no-fly zone, and I applied for permission from our Chinese overlords, and they said no, that I was too close to this airport. So,
jeez.
I really don't think that that's the issue. You know, we've talked about this, Jason. These drones, it's the problem you have is that if you're an agency that receives any sort of federal funding, grant, whatever, you know, an example of this would be, say you're a county police department and you got a grant for a K9 unit. Suddenly, the drone that you've been using for search and rescue operations is grounded because it falls from one of these verboten companies. You know, that's not helpful. You know, I said this before the show, and I truly mean, I hope this does not happen in a lot of ways, but if it does, it may prove the idiocy of this. Say there's a little 2-3-year-old kid escapes out the door. Mom, dad doesn't notice that they're grilling something. They run out the back door into the woods behind their house. It's currently February in most of North America. It's cold. It doesn't take long for that kid to something happen to him because of exposure. And having a drone up with thermal imaging as soon as possible may very well save a life. And with this proposal, or this, and actually I think it's part of it has passed already, that's not possible. You know, my local county and village police department, they're both, I know that for a fact they both have DJI drones. What are they supposed to do?
Right.
You know?
Well, and it has passed. It has passed. It's been signed into law already. So that's not even a question. Carl, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you coming in. Here is the concern. That let's see here. I know that I saw it in here. And basically it says that DJI claims that geofences its systems to ensure they do not pass over the U.S.'s no-fly zones. However, security researchers have demonstrated that they can be easily hacked to bypass America's restricted airspace. I don't think so, Brian. I would have a very difficult time believing that you would be able to, and here is the paragraph. Sorry, I didn't click on that. But I would have a very difficult time believing that you would be able to crack into the DJI software to get into restricted airspace. In fact, not even any of the drone flyers can get into the restricted airspace. So how would they get any of the information from it when we can't even do it?
You'd have to be able to turn off GPS at some point in there. I don't know how easy that is to do. I don't think it is. If someone is bound and determined to fly a drone where they're not supposed to, they're going to find a way.
Well, and they wouldn't
You
do
know,
it with the
and it
DJI
doesn't matter
drone.
who manufactures it.
They wouldn't do it with the DJI drone. They do it with one of the other drones that have no geofencing built into it.
You know,
Why go through all the trouble of hacking a drone when all you have to do is use one of the cheap drones and you know, fly and do whatever you want to do, because obviously you're not going to be caring what kind of camera you have or anything else. You're just going to use whatever you can to get the best ability to get close to something. So you could use Holy Stone, you could use Autel, you could use any exo drone on the market and be perfectly fine. So what they're trying to do with DJI and Autel is absolutely ridiculous in my mind.
Well, it's the same as, you know, everyone knows that I'm into photography. I've had so many people question me because of the size of my camera, quote unquote. You know, why are you taking photos? You know, that's a pretty that with that camera. No, it doesn't matter. You know, and that's the thing too. If for me carrying, okay, I don't have it down here. Upload here.
Now put that back in your pants.
Yeah.
It's not the size that counts,
this.
Brian.
You know, yeah, it's a big lens, you know, and yes, this does draw attention, but anyone who's to do photos for evil purposes are not going to draw attention by carrying this around. They're going to use their cell phone. There's so many other ways to get photos that you want. The people who are obvious are not the problems.
How many bushes have you hidden with that lens? That's what I want to know.
So
just don't answer it here. This after show.
Right.
We actually have an example because Florida actually put this into place beforehand. And so I'm going to share with everybody the example from Florida. So here is the news report from, let me get this right, WPLG Local 10 down there in Florida. Let me shoot this and do this, add that. And then, okay, this is the news report from Florida after they banned DJI drones.
Grounded.
Governor DeSantis and his administration fear these eyes in the sky could possibly be supplies. Vasquez is live 16. Yeah.
And new tonight, you are going to hear from a drone industry expert who works in the public safety sector. His explanation of why he does have some concerns on how this will impact first responders.
The entire nation, the drone industry of the world, in fact, have their eyes on Florida right now.
Christopher Todd trains first responders on how to use drones, use cases ranging from search and rescue to barricaded subjects. And the DJI is a powerhouse, a Chinese company dominating global market share.
I can tell you with certainty, based on our research, that over 92% of Florida agencies have DJI drones in their fleet.
Which is significant when you consider a new comprehensive Florida rule that bans government agencies from buying or using a DJI drone or any other manufactured by a foreign country of concern, which per state statute includes China, which means hundreds of DJI drones statewide grounded.
Part of the problem is...
Okay, let's stop there for a minute. I went and I looked to see what would be approved if, or in the state of Florida. And here are the drones that are approved through the state of Florida. We've got Skydio, we've got Parrot, and Brian, I did some research. What's the problem with Parrot?
They're made in China. Excuse me. They're manufactured in China, but they're assembled in the U.S.
Okay, so here's the proof. All you got to do is do a quick Google search. Parrot has subsidiaries all over the world, but its drones are manufactured in China. So you can say that they're made anywhere in the world, but they're assembled in the U.S. and other locations, but they're manufactured in China. So
That's
the
all it
other
takes.
the other drones, the Altavian, the Teal drones, and the Vantage Robotics, and the Vantage Robotics is actually owned by FLIR now. Those are all multi-thousands of dollars, where the DJI drones do probably a better job and cost a lot less. But let's not dwell on that. So let's go back to the news report from Florida.
Here is that this is really an unfunded mandate.
PSO says it grounded 3 DJI drones, cost of $300.
Okay. $300,000, Brian. That's a lot of drones.
Yeah, that is. That is a lot of drones. And the other thing too that I want to mention about this, the officers, firefighters and stuff that are flying these, they were recreational flyers and then brought this technology to their agency that they work with. They can pick up a DJI controller, whether it be for the little Mini 3, Mini 4, a Mavic, to one of the Pro controllers for maybe a Matrix. And in all intents and purposes, the display looks the same. And maybe a few buttons difference, but the important flight information is exactly the same. There's no training involved. So they can, and they're flying these things already.
Right.
So now by forcing you to go to another brand, you're going to be spending some money on training. And by money, I mean time. Time that these government officials could very well be doing something else. So, well, that's another problem.
So, Dan, if I was going to come up to you and ask you how much are one of the replacement drones going to cost, let's just say the Vantage Robotics or FLIR company drone that they're going to put out there, what do you think the cost of one of those babies are going to be?
More money than I got.
Right around $15,000.
Exactly.
So all of these new drones that are made in the U.S., number one, they are not ubiquitous like DJI. So they have to be made one after another after another. There's no assembly line. In fact, let's just finish the news report, and then I'll give you my thoughts at the end of it.
$1,000. 41 police and fire drones grounded in Miami-Dade, a more than $200,000 taxpayer investment.
It's not just about the drone, it's about the software they use, it's about the ancillary systems, the technology that allows the drone to stream video back to the command center.
Miami-Dade police telling us, quote, currently the county has allocated funds to replace downed drones. We will attempt to obtain federal and state grants to expand the fleet in the future.
If there's a legitimate national security concern, it makes sense to ground aircraft immediately without a sunset window. But if there's not a legitimate concern, then it makes sense to give public safety agencies time to use the equipment until the end of their serviceable life.
He went on to say that in his personal view, it would have been nice to see the state of Florida give these agencies even more time, because consider the fact that they will have to now find new budgets, new money to buy drones that Florida has on the approved list and then train on the new equipment. Reporting live for you, I'm Christina Vasquez, Local 10 News.
And that's the biggest thing, is the training that Brian was talking about. The time, the training, and the cost, because these drones are going to have to be manufactured one at a time. There's no drone factories anywhere here in the U.S. that they can mass produce all these drones. So number one, they're going to be costly. Number two, they're going to be hard to get out to all of these law enforcement agencies and rescue agencies all around the country. And as far as like a military application, it's going to take years to get the amount of drones that they could get through DJI. But I mean, not even talking for military purposes. Let's just say search and rescue at the very minimum. And if you take away the DJI drones, like Brian was saying earlier, and they don't have the capability anymore of using that drone, basically they can't even go to Joe Blow down the street who's got a DJI drone with a FLIR camera because they'd be violating the law that way. That's the way that I read it, Brian.
I do too. I mean, it's just not allowed to be used by a government agency in any shape or form.
Right. So I think that the government is just doing a whole bunch of backroom deals to prop up Skydio and a lot of the other drone manufacturers here in the States. But the drone manufacturers here in the States should have to compete. And Dan, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like they should have to compete in the marketplace with DJI. And if they're not doing a good enough job, they need to up their game.
Yep, exactamundo. And I think DJI just needs to make an assembly section here.
Well, yeah,
Ship
because
over in parts.
because all they have to do is ship the parts over here, let them assemble it over here, and then all of a sudden everything's good, right?
It's made in America.
If
I
it's good enough
deliver to
prepared, it's good
multiple
enough for
customers.
DJI.
I
Well,
deliver to multiple customers that they are their logo is proudly made in America, and everything I deliver to them says in a box it says made in China.
And I deliver a lot of stuff that says made in Wisconsin, but I pick it up in California. So
That was our secret.
Brian, you look like you have something to say.
Just look at Harley Davidson. I love them. I ride them, but I'm not fooled by them either.
Right. So we're gonna go because we have talked that one to death, but definitely I want the senators that co-sponsored that bill. You have a invite to this program at any point in time you want to come on and try and tell me that I'm wrong. Come on. I'm willing to hear your side of the argument because as of right now, I can't.
Mitt Romney's too stupid, or he's too chicken.
Yeah. Well, Josh Hawley is supposed to be this huge conservative that believes in individual liberties. And so Josh Hawley, for you to sponsor that bill is kind of ridiculous. So I invite Josh Hawley or even the author of that to come on the program and tell us why we're wrong. But I can tell you that we're not, because we have enough information. And maybe, one of you guys in the Senate or in Congress should get with a drone flyer that actually knows his stuff before you start ruling on things that you have no clue about. But I digress. Brian, you are in... I had you do the research over on the B4UFly app. And before we get to that point, I just want to show everybody what happens when you try and bring up the B4UFly app now. Ta-da! Before we go any further, Brian, what is the B4UFly app?
Well, B4UFly was, and it's gone through several iterations in the process, but it was a app that gave you information on the area in which you want to put your aircraft up, whether if it's controlled airspace, if there is any NOTAMs or anything available. Towards the end, you're able to get Landsat approval through it. So it was the FAA's app or website to communicate with the drone hobbyist or professional.
Right. So, not DJI. I'm still stuck on the whole DJI thing, and I'm still angry about it. But the biggest thing that happened with the B4UFly app is they had a contract with Aloft, and Aloft said, "We're done working with you. We're done. We're going to go off and do our own thing." So Aloft and the B4UFly app are no more. And Brian, why don't you take it from there?
Sure.
Hey, Dad, thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, vote hashtag bonus.
It's not fair to cheat. Just ask
Where?
Cummins.
So
Nah.
this is the web version, the desktop version of the B4UFly app website. And I love this part. Starting on February 1st. You know, I could have sworn I was in this app at least twice in January, and it did not say this. So I think they gave everyone like a whole 24-hour notice that this was going to happen. I heard something earlier in January that like Aloft went off and then turned it back on or something, and it was not a lot of advance notice, anyways. But they now list, the different websites or apps that allow you to do this, and they gave 4 of them. And I brought 3 of them up because you can see right now this autopilot, and they spell with a Y, so it already makes them look like idiots. Does not have a desktop version. I bet these guys also like vertical video, so
Probably.
Anyhow, so I kind of got caught with this last weekend. Yeah, because I went to before you could fly it because I knew I was close to an airport. I just didn't know where I was, and lo and behold, no information, had to register the whole 9 yards. So we will switch now to the next one. Stop. Talk to myself. So the first one on there was this, well, they call it Air Hub, and it's not really Air Hub. They call it Airspace Link, but when you open it up, it says Air Hub. And my opinion, this one here is the one that I think I'm going to use the most.
Okay.
I'm probably even register for. Because what I like about it is I'm zoomed out. It shows all the no-fly areas here in red. And you can turn some of this stuff on and off. It, gives you all the flight restrictions. In the dark mode, you can put into a satellite mode. Navigation. So there's a lot there. There's this VFR mode where I think they're trying to overlap a aircraft component. There it is. Now it's working. It wasn't before. So it gives you a lot of different options for the information you need. And the desktop version, along with the other versions that are available, are kind of important. And what I also like about it is that it only gives me the advisories that I need from where I have my pin located.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's not giving me everything for this whole map, and I'm going to switch over to this light version.
Yeah, because
it does show roads. I'm going to zoom in where one of the places, if everyone follows my channel, you see me fly down here a lot.
If people didn't know what they were looking at before you switched over to the light version, that was a sectional chart.
Yes.
And that's something that you have to learn when you get your Part 107 license.
Yes. But what I like about it is it's standard grid squares. It shows, obviously, railroad tracks here in orange, but it also has power lines.
Oh, nice.
I found that to be very useful.
Yes.
And they're bright red, so you can't really miss them.
Right. And yes, Steve. Steve asks, is your maximum altitude 400 feet? And yes, that is 400 feet is basically for the entire country. Unless there are a few exceptions, and we're not going to get into the exceptions today, but just go with 400 feet. Hey, TJ, thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, there's above ground level and above sea level, and that's a whole other discussion. So here is and the reason why this is listed as 400 feet is that it's controlled airspace, but it's letting you know you have the full right of the airspace. You just have to let the air traffic controller know that you're going to be in their airspace. So
Hey, East Coast Thrills, thank you so much for coming in. Glad that you could join the program.
But I'll zoom in a little bit more here. And I know that there's a tower located. And this is something else that's kind of neat. It tells me that there is a radio tower located here. There's windmills up here, Johnson Wax. Here's a heliport that's listed. So it really provides a lot of data.
Okay, now let me ask you a question, Brian.
Sure.
Say that I'm a Part 107 pilot and I am getting ready to fly and I want to fly in that restricted zone. How do I get Lance approval from here?
Yes, you can. I'm not registered yet because I wanted to really compare these before I did. But if I hit the plan button, you would log in.
Okay.
And that's right where your Lance approval comes from. So,
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but that was that would be the first question that would come up.
Yes, it is. And still, here's my, controlled airspace. It tells me that helipad that I pointed out at Waxdale.
Yep.
Just a lot, just good information. So that they call it airspace link. They go by the commercial name AirHub. I think, again, this is just my opinion, but of all four of them, this one, to me, seems to be the best one put together.
Now, is
because
the
of all the
desktop
different options that it provides you.
Is the desktop version is the desktop version and the cell phone version, are they similar?
Yes, they are. From what I can tell, the apps just kind of point back to this website. So it's just really a web link that's formatted then for your phone.
Okay. So if you were using the B4UFly app, Brian's suggestion is to go with this one, and that one it was again.
Yeah, it's called Airspace Link, but in your browser it says AirHub Portal.
Okay, so either Airspace Link or AirHub Portal. I'm sure that there's a link or not a link, but there's a way to download it through the App Store. If not, just go to the B4UFly app, click the link that's on the B4UFly app, and it brings you to the FAA's website, where it will give you a link to go to this site here.
And if you actually just go to it, it gives you links to both the Google and the Apple.
Oh, it does have it. Oh,
App Store. Yeah, they all do that. Hey, sign in to start planning. Here's everything you know about Lance before you fly. It's designed the mobile devices for both phones and tablets. I mean, I think that they're again. I'll show you the other two real quick, but it's of my opinion that this is really the most thought out of all of them.
Okay,
and it's completely free. They do have enterprise options available, or business options, but this is really probably the simplest of all of them.
Right. While you do that, I'm going to look that up on the Play Store.
Yeah. Now, the next one that they mention, go back into here. Is this Avision? And they have a little disclaimer like everyone else. I mean, I made the mark to be in the same place. Again, you have to sign in to do it, but it gives you a lot, and that I like a lot of these NOTAMs are for the exact same location.
Okay.
So I'm not really sure why that is. So the way I looked at it is that it could be a little bit overwhelming because if you're not paying attention, you just see all these NOTAMs. But what it does do that's kind of nice is that everyone is probably familiar with Google Maps.
Yes.
So that's what it uses. It uses a standard Google map that everyone's familiar with. Good, bad, or indifferent. They list, the antique store, Goodwill. So it's got all the businesses on it. But it does list, for example, the Sylvania Airport. That was not on the other app. Every single one of these exclamation points, is an airspace area that tells you, like, there's over here by Graceland Cemetery. Yes, you're close to St. Mary's Hospital. I don't even know what that is. Oh yeah, okay, that's a new hospital that literally just opened. So it does maybe tell you of other places where there may be aircraft available, but I don't even know if their emergency room is open yet. Because
Right.
if you're going to fly anyone, if they're going up to Freighter in Milwaukee, this might just be for them to pick up. So it can be a little bit overwhelming. The other thing and this is just my personal opinion that I don't care about, is that it isn't using the standard square grids to tell you your height restrictions.
Okay.
So here's, the Kenosha Airport. Yeah, it's 400 feet, but okay, it was 400 feet all the way down to here, 100, 150. So it kind of divides it up, but it's I don't know. I guess every other app that I've used, and my preference before Aloft, or actually before was even that, it was Kitty Hawk. I loved using AirMap, and they're the ones who had nice squares, everything. This seems to kind of get away with it. I would rather say, hey, there's 400 here. Yeah, I know it's 400 up here, 400 down here, but it was nice and square. And here you're kind of looking around. It's not even for all the numbers. So
Right.
I feel when I look at this, and again, this is just me, I'm looking at, 400, 400, 400. What's okay? This is inside the circle. It's down here.
Right.
Same thing over here. You're 150, 100, 200 in the middle. I would rather just read right to left, top to bottom, and everything be a little bit easier to read because of that. So that to me is a downside to it. It may not be to someone else.
Brian,
Yeah.
can you put those links into the chat
Sure.
for everybody? And
Yeah.
Dan, between those two apps, which one did you like better?
No, I'd say the first one.
Yeah, I like the first one too, because I like to have the grid inside the circle, because I want to know exactly where my height restrictions are going to be at. That's the biggest thing. And
Yeah.
like at Dan's house, Dan, why don't you tell your situation where you live and how close you are to being able to fly and not fly?
If I fly over my house, well, in my driveway actually, if I fly just outside about the middle of my driveway, I can have no issues flying anywhere 400 feet anyways. And I still have 400 feet by my house, or maybe I think it's still 400 feet by my house, but I can't fly over my house without approval.
I mean, it can be that tight. And Brian, it looks like you're zooming in to show us the difference there.
Yeah, so I was just going to kind of point out, here's my center point where I fly from, and it's only because do you guys notice anything that might be missing on this that was on the previous map?
Like the numbers?
Oh, no, not just the numbers.
Or the businesses?
We'll zoom in here again. Notice how it doesn't have the power lines.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't have the power lines. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
you don't need those.
Yeah, small
It's not
detail.
It's not like I've ever hit a power line.
No.
No, you've never done that.
No.
I mean, it's here's my location.
Where's the app with all the trees? That's what I want.
Right? Well, and I'm going to. Is it in here?
I'm sure there's a satellite view.
Yeah, they both have a satellite view, so you can have it. I don't know. I don't know if you guys even see me switching between them.
Oh yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, this has got a satellite view as well. Here's a satellite map. So, I mean, you can see the power lines. They're right there. But it's really nice when they're,
When they're on the map.
when they're on the map. And to be fair, that was a Google map that we're just looking at. If I go to the OpenStreetMap, it does show them. But unless you know what you're looking for, how do you know that the square with the line through it like this is a
Power line.
power line?
Yep.
It to me, it's just not as clear.
Yeah.
Good data, just not as clear. And then the
So,
last one.
so anybody that's interested, as soon as Brian gets done presenting these, he's going to put all of the links in the chat, so all of you can go and choose whatever one that you want to use.
Yeah. Stop. We'll hit this one. I'll show you the last one, and for me, my understanding is, oh, come on, there we go. For them to be before you fly, it's supposed to be free for Lance approval and everything, and to use.
Okay.
If that's true, it's not the easiest website to navigate, because I played around with it for half an hour, and I finally figured out that it might be this icon. Maybe. Well, there it is.
That's to log you out right there.
Yeah, I mean, but it's everything I clicked on up to this point was a what do we say? It made it appear that I had to register and pay for their services in order to do anything.
Okay.
So it was not the friendliest, and as I'm scrolling out pretty darn fast, and if you can tell, it's not the easiest. Okay, that's a 3D map. So here's why you need a 3D map. I have no idea. But I mean, this isn't even a true north. I mean, okay, there we go. I mean, it's I think this is the one that's in association with the model aircraft guys, because it does have my local airfield in it.
Oh, okay.
But other than that, it's not. Go right here to Braun Road, where I fly. And I mean, it's okay. Train tracks. I don't see anything to tell me that there's power lines here. I mean, this was a satellite view before that was built. I mean, it's a different color.
Brian, I don't think we're seeing what you're seeing, because all I see is the UA Sidekick page.
Oh. How's that? Okay. Yeah, so it gets even better. It's not even a good website. Here, we switch this out then. Sorry about that.
I'd be curious, though, if it has, like, old power lines that aren't in use anymore. Because we have a lot of those out here. Especially, like, along I-80 and different areas that...
I
there's
think
power
that's
lines, but there's no power going through them.
Right.
They'll still take you out.
Oh, yeah. I think that's what this gray area is. I mean, I'm looking across this field here. Why is it green? Goes to, gray,
Right.
brown, and then back to green. Well, I know that's where the power lines are.
But it's not
here's
very
a substation, but
it's not very detailed.
no, it's not detailed. It's okay, it gives me a satellite view, light view. I mean, it's just not. Yeah, I mean, it's not the.
Yeah, that's not one that I would use at all.
No, I wouldn't either. Heck, it doesn't even show. Okay, I know how old this is, because Brown Road is only a 2-lane street, and so is Highway H. This satellite view is at least 8 years old.
So this is the Ask Jeeves version.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I would even. this is bad.
Yeah.
You know, and then by default, it gives you this goofy 3D view that I don't even know who would want that. It's just, yeah. So that's UA Sidekick again. You know, some people might find that and it's perfectly fine with them. Good for them. I don't find it useful. I've really, to me, this Air Hub and this Vision are probably your two best. And now the two, I really like Air Hub for the sheer fact that it gives you where the power lines are. Now, and I know our friends in Stormy Sky are going to look at this and laugh because the Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Paul, and Pacific Railroad went out of business in 1985. So why it's still labeled that, Lord only knows. But that's a minor detail. You know, that has nothing to do with the fact that they're showing where the power lines and stuff are.
Right. Well, Brian, I'm going to let you dump that off and then put those into the chat. And I'm going to do a quick update on the DJI Mini 4 Pro. If you have the DJI Mini 4 Pro and you did the firmware update, you may be flying illegally, depending on the battery that you have. And I'm going to share the story from, let's see here. This is from Drone XL. Firmware update turns DJI Mini drones non-compliant for commercial use. And basically, it boils down to the fact that the batteries, just the regular batteries, not the Pro batteries, it says, how do DJI Mini series users comply with the remote ID rule? As per the FAA remote ID rule, all drone pilots required to use to register their UAS must operate their aircraft in accordance with the final rule on and after the second compliance deadline, blah, blah, blah. If you're operating, let's see here, these aircraft. All right, according to DJI, the DJI Mini 3 Pro supports the FAA remote ID functionality, regardless of whether an Intelligent Flight Battery Plus or Intelligent Flight Battery is used. But when the update came through, it made it so that the DJI Mini 4 Pro would not have remote ID functionality if the regular battery was in, and that was going to be an issue. So I'm hoping that DJI comes up with a solution to that, and hopefully they do have a further update with that. But you may end up flying your drone illegally if you don't have a Pro battery, and we don't like that.
Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one.
Okay.
If you are just a drone hobbyist and you only are using the smaller battery, you're not required to have.
You're fine.
You're fine. You're right.
Yeah.
It's not registered or anything. So, and those are the people that I think a lot of them were going after this drone for that very reason.
Right. Yeah.
The thought is that if you get the heavier battery, you're the professional. The problem is that I think most people get the heavier batteries anyway, so all that's a moot point. My question is, when you ordered your Mini 4 Pro, and I know you got the Fly More kit, Jason, did it come with one of the smaller batteries?
It did not. No, I ordered the Pro package so that all three batteries that came with it were all Pro batteries.
Okay. Now, because if you mention, because the one thing that wasn't mentioned here is that a person like myself who's still on a Mini 3 Pro, our drones don't do this when we swap out the batteries. It's only the standard. It's only the Mini 3, not the Mini 3 Pro, and that's because my Mini 3 Pro did come with one of those small batteries. And when I ordered the Fly More kit, I got two additional. I ordered the heavier batteries, but I know it was an option for me to get the smaller ones. I wanted the longer battery, the longer flight. So again, it doesn't apply to me, but I think it's a little odd that they put this intelligence in these drones, and it covers two of the three minis that are currently on the market. and not
Now,
all three of them.
now, if you're going to fly your drone at night and you're going to add a strobe light to it, you're going to have that drone registered, because adding that strobe is going to put the drone over the 249 gram limit. So, you know, there's a lot of different ways that you can construe everything. So I just wanted to make everybody aware.
But if you dangle it on a string,
yes,
and it's going, that's just a pale, you know. That's
Hey, Johnny Drone Flyer, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you being here. Sorry you came in towards the end, but we're just about wrapping up the show. Right now, what we have to do is we need to see who won our Blinker Fluid of the Week Super Bowl edition. And Dan, how many votes did you have for bonus?
all of them. It was like 10,000 plus one.
Okay, you had one, huh? So that means that we have a clear winner again, Dan. And who did you think was going to win?
Oh, I believe it would be Christian. Because if I wasn't in, I'd vote for Christian.
So our Blinker Fluid of the Week winner for this week on Super Bowl weekend is number 3. That would be Christian. Congratulations, Christian. You won absolutely nothing other than the pride that you beat all of us.
An empty bottle.
Bragging rights.
Well, everybody, I really didn't think anybody was going to be in here today. And if you're wanting to know the score of the football game, it is San Francisco 10 and Kansas City 3. But we didn't really care about that. We cared about spending our time here with all of you. So we had a lot of fun talking about drones today. Brian and Dan, I'm going to give you both the last words. Let's start off with Dan and work your way up.
Work your way up? Why do we want to work our way up? You know, aren't you supposed to go down, like to bed?
Well, no, I like to do the semicircle.
Oh, the semicircle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for participating and voting for Christian's video. That was awesome. I couldn't believe that when he sent me that video, I about died. So I've seen been in a couple similar situations, but I'm glad he maintained control, and that's about it. But hey, keep those dash cams rolling and send me in some good ones.
Absolutely,
because I like the simple fact that this one wasn't like mostly me and one or two other people. I loved having just I would love to make one that I don't even have to put any of my videos in.
No, I mean, it was a great episode, and you picked the perfect week to share it with everybody this week, Dan. So thank you very much for all the hard work that you do on our Blinker Fluid of the Week. And if you are interested in getting a Blinker Fluid of the Week hat, you can get those from the Spreadshop store, JJDrones.myspreadshop.com. And Brian.
Yay, sports ball.
And just to answer Ted's question before we leave, he says, what if I put my off-the-hook decal? Will that make it illegal? It very well could, depending on how heavy your sticker is. So I would definitely weigh it. And you would definitely get the pro version anyway, so you'd already be over the 249 gram limit anyway, Ted. So
Sling load. Once it takes off, when it takes off, but when the rope comes up and it, then you're still good.
Hey, Tony, thank you for coming in. We are just ending the show. Thank you, everybody that has been here today. Like I said, I really wasn't expecting anyone to show up. I figured it was all going to be watched on the replay. So thank you all so for proving me wrong. But I appreciate all of you for coming along for this ride with us, and we'll see you later on down the road. Bye, everybody.